everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I am your host, Sean, Man of Steel McGahee, and with me today is going to be Joshua Dark Knight Del Angel.
Yes.
See how I tied that in there?
Thank you, man. I like that.
Alright, guys, so this is the show we talk about comic books, movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. And of course, if you hadn't noticed, what's on our brains right now? Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. We got 2 days before Josh and I sit down in a theater and finally see this movie that we've been talking about. It seems like forever. Are you excited, nervous? What do you think, Josh?
It's a little surreal, man. I can't believe the day is almost here.
I know. We've been talking about this movie for so long, and it's had so much evolutions ever since Man of Steel ended. They talked about the Man of Steel sequel, and then they announced 2 years ago. It was 2 or 3 years ago at Comic-Con, they announced it was going to be Batman versus Superman.
Time flies.
And they pushed it back because this movie was actually supposed to come out in like November, December, and then they pushed it back to May. It was going right up against Captain America Civil War.
Yep.
Then they pushed it ahead to March. So it's been a whirlwind as far as the whole process. At this point, I've been nervous a lot, but I thought about it yesterday. I'm getting more excited than nervous at this point because I'm thinking about seeing Batman and Superman up there. I'm thinking about seeing Wonder Woman up there. They're going to fight Doomsday, which I think is still a mistake, but visualizing all that in my mind, I think it's going to be cool, I think. Whether it all comes together for a good film, I don't know, but just the visualization of it all looks really cool, I think.
I'm trying not to think about that. I'm trying to think about, is it going to be a good film? I hope I have fun. I'm going to go in there with a blank mind, so to speak, and just really try to be neutral. I'm excited. I'm not thinking about my nervous feelings right now. The only thing I'm nervous about is what if they move the date? Like the day before, like move it back a couple days. We're set to premiere, right? Exactly.
Yes, dude. We have the tickets. The time is set. I don't think they're going to move it 2 days beforehand. They had the premiere Sunday, I believe, and early screenings have been showing the next couple days. I read one place where most of the reviews have been positive, so that's a good thing. I'm still nervous, of course, but we'll see how it goes. It's something else. But there's something else happened that I think we should talk about. Daredevil Season 2 premiered on Netflix. I took the day off on Friday to nurse my St. Patrick's Day hangover. I got up, I took my daughter to daycare. I went over to Costco, grabbed a couple slices of pizza, went to 7-Eleven on the Slurpee Day, which was awesome. Got a giant Slurpee, came home, sat down, and just busted through 5 episodes of that. Couple episodes throughout, and by Saturday night, I was done. Josh, however, has not been that productive.
Forgive me for not going on a binge watch there, man. I felt like you could have left the United States and it didn't fit that. Maybe, I don't know. You were on the journey. I felt like
I was. Well, I had
determined.
to finish it, and I had to get it done. I mean, It was so interesting too. The episodes, they leave you on a cliffhanger, and you're like, I gotta watch the next one. And I was thinking I was gonna finish it on Sunday, but no, I just stayed up late on Saturday. Got it all done and over with. And that's the problem, too, is I stayed up and I finished it so quickly. And I'm just like, well, I want to talk about it with somebody, but nobody's finished.
So I don't doubt your ability to take everything from this 2 days of watching the season, though. You feel like you absorbed everything. You got this. Because I went back and watched the episodes I'm on. And
I'm sure there are a couple
got
of
a lot
things
from the second time around.
Much like Season 1. Like, I went through Season 1 and I watched it. And then I didn't rewatch Season 1 until like a month ago when I was getting ready for Season 2. And I fast forward to the parts that were boring for me, actually. I just, focused more on, I like Foggy and I like Murdoch. So, like, stuff where it was just Karen, I would fast forward through and stuff like that. So I think I'll probably do the same thing after this. Fast forward, just have stuff that I like about it and kind of skip through. It makes it go a lot faster that way. But I'm sure there's stuff that, you haven't rewatched a couple of them. Me just going through it once. I'm sure you picked up on a few things more than I have. So, since you have yet to finish it, we'll hold off a lot of the main discussion until next week, where we will also be discussing Batman v Superman. It's going to be a loaded show next week, I think.
Forgive us if we're not as excited this week for next week's episode.
Next week's going to be... I'm excited. I would have been excited if you would have finished Daredevil, but it's all right. So next week, we're going to get a full rundown on Daredevil Season 2. I'll hold off my notes until then. I might even go back and maybe rewatch a couple episodes or something like that. And then, of course, we're going to go into a full spiel about Batman v Superman. I really feel like next week it's going to be those two topics.
Yeah.
I might even not even try to get any other topics. We'll see how that goes. But overall, Daredevil season 2. How do you feel about it so far?
I am absolutely in love with it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me so far. I've loved every episode.
Such a step up from season 1. Such a tremendous. I mean, I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm thinking, gosh, man, this is about excited as I get when I watch an episode of Game of Thrones.
Really?
You know, watching the drama and all of it put together and how well crafted it is. I get that same sensation, that excitement as I was watching those episodes, and it really was. It's really a terrific season.
Yeah, I agree with the similar feeling. I mean, you called it, dude. You called season 1 was a setup. Season 2 is taking right where they left off, and
it's much like a movie sequel. You get the origin story in the first one. The second one, you amp everything up. Okay, take it to that next level, almost kind of a darker level.
Yeah.
And then you got the next season, which will continue that or kind of wrap up events because this one just kind of leave on a cliffhanger. Not to give any spoilers. But the last episode leaves you on a cliffhanger where you're like, what happens next, of course.
Of course.
So we're all excited. Now, I'm very curious how they're going to do. Well, I'll table that, the Netflix schedule after this little part. So,
okay.
John Berthal as Punisher, what do you think of that?
Well, I was thinking about this last night. He has redefined the character to me, man. I mean, he is perfectly casted. He is Punisher. He is Frank Castle to me, and I really got this vibe that he is doing all the right mannerisms. The dialogue is epic. It's awesome. He's always on the verge of, is this man crazy? Is he just a man that's been pushed to the absolute limit?
Which you'll find that out later on. Okay.
His monologues that I've had so far, I've really bought into. Not to mention, it made the old girlfriend cry a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and
was it the end of episode 4?
Yes.
Yes, it was. That one made me tear up a little bit too, which I'll get into in a sec. But
yeah, I mean, it just he has redefined the character for me, and falling more and more in love with the Punisher. And John Bernthal is highly underrated.
Oh,
man.
he's a great actor. Yeah,
dude, I've loved every character. I've been scared. Almost crapping my pants with characters that he's played, man. I'm not a guy who's intimidated very easily, but this is one guy I would not want to go square, toe to toe with.
Yeah, well, after hearing he was cast in Punisher, I had just finished watching Fury.
Yeah.
And he was in that with Brad Pitt, and I was like, yes, that totally fits. I like it. Good actor. I thought it was a great fit. But yeah, going back to that the episode 4 where he's in the graveyard and he goes into that large monologue or whatever, that got me going. He started talking, spoiler of course, if you haven't heard episode 4, cover your ears for a couple of minutes, but he talks about holding the last time he saw his daughter was when her face was blown off and her guts were coming out, which we'll get into the violence in a sec too. But it was just got me going, and I'm like, after I heard that, I imagined it in my head what it would be like if I was doing that with my daughter. I'm like, I get it now. I get it, because if somebody did that to my daughter, I'd go on a killing spree too. I got it in my mind. I imagined that scenario, and I'm like, yeah, I'd just tear apart the entire world and burn it down.
He's really nailed the balance of the character where this guy he's a killer. He's a talented killer. He was born to do this. He's a born warrior. Yeah. But he also has the side of being a compassionate father. And then you take everything that he holds dear away from him. I mean, I think anybody would be pushed to that limit. And I'm definitely been enjoying the battle between who's right and who's wrong. Yeah,
that moral conversation he and Daredevil had in the third episode was really great. I love they kind of slowed everything down. I like the first 2 episodes, but that third episode is really where it kicked in for me, where I really started enjoying it, because I love having those conversations between characters about the moral dilemmas, their different points of view, and it was kind of almost like I could see Batman versus Superman, of course, having the conversation about how they both want the same result, but they just go about it differently in that regards. But another thing with the Punisher, his main thing is he's a superhero, so to speak, that kills. And the violence in this has been quite brutal. I mean, episode 4, he shot that one guy right in the face and just blew his face right off. Okay? And just to let you know, the violence continues. I mean, Punisher, he still continues that violence throughout the whole season. And season 1, you could really say probably PG-13. But season 2 is on R. It's R, man.
It's a big, bold R. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you'll get to later on the more violence as well. So then going off, the other one is Elektra. You just got a couple episodes with her since you're not too far ahead. What is your impression of her so far?
I'm in love. I'm in love. It's exactly my type of woman. A woman that will push you to the brink of insanity and push your beliefs, your values.
Crazy.
But so far, in my opinion, it's made Matt better. It's made him more wary of his own emotions, and I feel like because he's been through such a relationship like her, he is a battle-hardened warrior. He's been through a lot. Even if this is maybe his second year as a superhero in the season 2, he's still pretty new to the scene. Man, he's been through a hell of a lot. Because
I know. I love how they in her episode where they introduced her, they did all the flashbacks about their relationship too, and that was great just seeing all that stuff. With Elektra, it makes me not like Karen more.
Oh man, I almost feel like they did that on purpose though. They set up Karen to be this kind of cheesy, kind of over the top. She tries too hard to be sexy. First off, she tried, and
she doesn't do it for me at all. I mean, she was my least favorite part of season 1. Like when I talk about rewatching season 1 and fast forwarding, anything with Karen, I'll usually fast forward right through.
Yeah.
And I feel it's going to be the same thing when I go back and rewatch season 2. I don't like the character at all. She just seems pretty pathetic, in my opinion. Kind of whiny. I feel about her, I know you don't watch Arrow, but I feel about her the same way I feel about Laurel in Arrow. It's just like, everyone who watches that show, I can tell she's kind of the weak point of it, especially in this season when everyone has raised their game as far as the actors and production. And I feel like, I know people that are fans of her, but I know most people are not fans of her. Let us know where you guys stand too. Hit us up. Let us know where you stand, because I cannot stand the character of Karen. If you like her, hit us up on social media. Let us know why you defend her as well. But I mean, I'm not a fan of her. Do you like her at all?
No, I don't. I don't. I mean, I've been more impressed with her character. I haven't been so annoyed with her character.
A little better this season. I'll give you that. But still, I'm just like, whatever.
Let me ask you this: so, to play matchmaker, you would rather see Elektra and Daredevil, of course, together than I feel like Marvel did a great job setting that up.
Okay.
Where you're conflicted. Do you want him to end up with this?
I'm not conflicted at all. No. I finished the season and I'm not conflicted at all. I'll tell you that. But I did have this conversation with one of my friends via Facebook message, and I was talking to her about it, and I'm like, I don't think this really spoils anything, but I feel like it's again the superhero dual identity. Matt Murdock is in love with Karen Page, but Daredevil is in love with Elektra. And you'll see at the end of the season, there's a little phrase we'll get to that I'm going to bring up to kind of support that theory as well.
Okay.
But overall, Daredevil season 2. If you have not watched it, please get on it. It's phenomenal. One of my favorite seasons of TV in a long time as well. But just great, man. And it's only gonna get better for you too. It's gonna get better. So, but moving on to the actual topics we have. I feel like there's a theme of this week's episode. We're talking Marvel and Harrison Ford characters. It's like a Jeopardy topic, I feel, up on the board. So those are the kind of two realms we're sticking in for this show. So playing off of Daredevil as well now, at the end of Daredevil Season 2, you actually get your first glimpse at the next Netflix series, which is Luke Cage. Now, we saw Michael Coulter as the character Luke Cage in Jessica Jones this past fall. He's getting his own series that's coming to Netflix on September 30th. Did you see the little trailer at all?
I did, yeah,
okay.
I did.
Okay, what'd you think of it?
It wasn't very funny. I mean, it was kind of a funny line.
I get it.
It was kind of dry.
I was expecting a full trailer, though. I was expecting like a 1 minute to 2 minute thing, and this was just like 30 seconds.
I was more impressed. I felt like he had a small role in Jessica Jones. I was more impressed with the scenes that I saw there and the little they did reveal about his abilities. And then this 20-second trailer was, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I tell you what, I like the logo. The logo
looks cool. When I first watched Jessica Jones, Michael Coulter, I liked him in the first couple episodes he was in. As the season progressed, I liked him less and less. So now I'm not that excited about Luke Cage, honestly. I'll watch it, of course. Maybe him as a solo act, he might get a little better, but I wasn't all impressed with him.
And that's what I was worried about. As him as a solo act, him on screen by himself, am I going to be entertained by this?
Well, I'm sure he's gonna. I'm not sure as far as the supporting cast. Rumors are that Iron Fist is gonna show up because he and Luke Cage are best friends in the comics and are related so much together. I know Rosario Dawson, who plays Claire, the night nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen pictures on set where she's going to pull up, which, again, I got in a conversation with my friend about how Agent Coulson was kind of the thread between the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I feel like the night nurse is going to be the thread between the Netflix series. Because we saw her in Daredevil. We saw her in Jessica Jones. She's going to be in Luke Cage. Chances are she's going to be in Iron Fist. And then I'm wondering, well, is she going to meet the same fate that Coulson did in the Avengers?
Oh, man.
I'm like, ooh, that would be something.
And I don't think this nurse is a robot or a clone.
Or whatever. Whatever Coulson is. I don't know what Coulson was because I watched 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then gave up on it. So I'm not sure what exactly happened to Agent Coulson. But in any event, Luke Cage coming out. I'm not that excited about it. I'll watch it, but I'm not that excited, honestly.
I get more excited when I see...
Give me more.
Give me Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
See, I'm wondering if Jessica...
I like the chemistry they have together, so I'm hoping she's in it.
There's another Daredevil Easter egg about Jessica Jones I want to tell you about.
Later on in the season?
All I'm going to say is it's the very last scene of season 2. Yeah, it's very last... It's not... You got to look for it.
Okay.
But there's an Easter egg in the very last scene of Daredevil Season 2. There's a Jessica Jones Easter egg. You got to look for it, though. Right. If you don't see it, let me know. I'll tell you what it is. Because my friend who I was talking to about didn't notice it. I noticed it when I saw it. I'm like, oh my God! And she didn't notice it at all. She's like, whoa, I didn't even see that. I'll go back and rewatch it.
Keen eyes of yours, man.
Well, of course. Those lovely Easter eggs as well. So, sticking with the Netflix Marvel movies, last month it was rumored that Marvel and Netflix had picked their actor who is going to be in their next Netflix series, Iron Fist. They were rumored that Finn Jones from Game of Thrones was going to play the character of Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist. Now Marvel and Netflix have actually officially announced that this actor will be playing the Iron Fist. Now, in the story, Rand returns to New York City after missing for many years. He fights against the criminal element corrupting New York with his incredible kung fu mastery and ability to summon the awesome power of the fiery Iron Fist. Executive producer and showrunner Scott Bucks had this to say about the character. Danny Rand is a very complicated character. He's a billionaire New York Buddhist monk martial artist superhero who's still trying to figure out what exactly that all means. Finn is able to play all these levels in such an honest way that as soon as I saw him, I knew he was our guy. Now, executive producer and Marvel TV head Jeff Loeb said, Finn wonderfully blends confidence with vulnerability, making him the perfect choice as he struggles to find his place in the world. Now that we've found Danny Rand, we've completed our principal cast for the upcoming Defenders on Netflix, and we are thrilled to continue to show audiences unexplored corners of the Marvel Universe. Marvel's Iron Fist is, of course, going to show up next year on Netflix. What do you think of the casting?
I mean, you may have a better opinion on this than I do. In my opinion, I wasn't a big fan of Finn Jones' character in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the Tyrell son, brother, whatever you want to call him.
I apologize to our audience who I've offended. I mean, if that's their favorite character in Game of Thrones, it would be great. You know. But it's hard for me to imagine him, I've never seen him in anything else, so it's hard for me to think of, will he be able to capture the role, the toughness of the role too? I mean, the tough guy part of the role as well, so... I'm curious. To see. I mean, I love the material though, dude. I mean, I've yet to read.
I'm gonna give you some Iron Fist before we watch it, so don't worry about that.
The artwork that I've seen from it, though, I'm already amped to read it, man. I really am. Yeah. And the origin story that you've given me, the brief history you've given me, has been great so far. So
yeah,
I'm curious.
I became a fan of Iron Fist back when Ed Brubaker started the Immortal Iron Fist run, which his new series Iron Fist. I read the first graphic novel. I wasn't thrilled with it. But that Immortal Iron Fist made me fall in love with the character, and I go back and reread it. It's great. If you really want to get a sense of what Iron Fist is and get ready for the TV series, I recommend you go read that. It's like 4 or 5 volumes, I believe. Really great run. As far as Finn Jones, I talked about this a couple weeks ago when it was just me by myself that week, and I kind of talked about the rumors about him playing him. I've only seen him in Game of Thrones as well. I haven't seen anything else he's been in. So going off of that, acting abilities, he might do it. He's on Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is they usually get top-notch talent. For me, it was more of the physicality because he is a martial artist superhero, okay? In the comic books, I mean, it's like he's like Bruce Lee, He moves quickly, he strikes hard, all that stuff. So that's going to be a very physical role for Jones to play. In Game of Thrones, we really don't see him do a lot of that fighting. I think he does some sword fighting, but as far as like jumping up and kicking someone and going fast punches and all that, to me it comes down to the physicality of the character. Can he do it? I don't know if he can. I don't even know how old he is, to see how limber he is, so to speak. So I'm not sure. At this point, I'm just going to go off of what Marvel is casting. Because, again, with Kristen Ritter, when I heard she was going to play Jessica Jones, I was like, I know Kristen Ritter from comedies, and she's going to play this dark, serious character. I don't know about this. And she blew me away. She was terrific. I loved it. So, at this point, again, I'm going to trust Marvel. Because they haven't let us down yet in that instance. But more importantly, when I read the story, the thing that got me excited too was what Jeff Loeb said. This is it. We've now got the Defenders. Yeah. Finn Jones is Iron Fist. Michael Coulter is Luke Cage. Christian Ritter is Jessica Jones. Charlie Cox is Daredevil. We have our Defenders, which are going to be, leading into their TV Avengers stub world. And I'm really excited. Again, if you would have finished Daredevil Season 2, I could have gotten more about my theories about Defenders. But we'll just have to wait till next week, I guess, on that.
I mean, as long as no spoilers in there.
No spoilers, but wait till next week. But I'm excited now that we have all this together. So, the other thing I was thinking about, too, was now, how is this going to go? Because, obviously, there's going to be a Daredevil Season 3.
Yeah.
And with the Netflix series, they've been putting out 2 a year. You get one in the spring and one in the fall. So we got Daredevil this year. Daredevil right now in the spring. We're getting Luke Cage in the fall. They already announced a Jessica Jones Season 2, which I imagine will probably take place in the spring of next year. Yeah. And then they'll probably do Iron Fist.
Fall of 2017?
Oh, yes, to fall. Yeah, fall. So then you got to do Defenders the next year. Do you put out Daredevil Season 3 and then Defenders, or Defenders then Daredevil Season 3, Yeah, or are they going to step it up and do 3 series a year?
Wow.
That would be awesome. I would love that because I imagine Luke Cage will probably be pretty decent, I'm going to assume, at that point. So he might get a Season 2 as well. If he doesn't, I haven't seen Season 1 yet, so I can't judge, but I might not be too disappointed if they don't. But I'm just anxious. Are they going to step it up to 2 or 3, series a year? That'd be awesome. Because again, what about Punisher? People are asking for a Punisher series, especially after seeing Daredevil Season 2.
Oh man, I hope he shows up, especially in Defenders. If he's maybe not part of the Defenders, but he shows up. The guy who's never really welcomed to the club. But
I would love him to be. I thought about it, and again, just from my perspective of watching the entire series, I would love him to pop up in other series, like have him pop up in Luke Cage, or just pop up briefly in Iron Fist, or Jessica Jones. I think he might do better in Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah, gritty
than some of the other ones,
definitely.
Or even pop up briefly in Season 3 of Daredevil. But I don't really, at this point, I don't want to see him in his entire series. And I'll get more to that next week when we go through the full season of Daredevil. But I'd like to see him continue to play that supporting character as opposed to playing a lead character.
Agreed.
I think.
Yeah, I definitely think he deserves, the character deserves being a little bit of everything. Defenders, Luke Cage, you name it.
Yeah, but now I'm excited, man, because I love the Netflix. They're doing it right. Just based off the 2 seasons of Daredevil and Jessica Jones, I'm going to give Luke Cage the benefit of the doubt. And being that I'm a fan of Iron Fist, I'm totally excited to see what they do with that.
Man, tell you what, Netflix and chill has got me. Man, I'm on binge watching. I mean, I know I haven't gone crazy with Daredevil yet, but the idea that the whole season is available to you right away, man.
That's the best part, man.
Yeah.
And that's what people like to do now, man. That's what people love to do is they go and just watch them all. That's just the way it is, and I'm totally down with that, Okay, so let's step out of Netflix for a second, head over to the other side of the Marvel pond with Fox. 20th Century Fox released a new full-length trailer for X-Men Apocalypse, which is going to come out May 27th. I think this is actually the last one, if I heard correctly, before the film comes out. It's going to star James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Oscar Isaac, Rose Byrne, and a whole crap load of people. This one came out, I think it came out Wednesday or Thursday, I believe. What'd you think of it, man?
The first thing that thought came to mind was Magneto, and I wonder how easily he is going to be influenced by Apocalypse, and I don't know, it just gave me a different vibe about Magneto than I have ever had in any other X-Men movie, and I'm excited for the film overall, dude. It looks awesome.
I like the previous trailer a little better, but this one was still good.
This is my favorite.
I liked it. Yeah, I think I liked the previous one a little better, but this one was pretty good. Again, still got me excited for the film. It's an X-Men film, so I'm excited. I was all about, okay, where's Cyclops? Where's Cyclops? How big a role is he and Jean Grey? Because he and Jean Grey are going to be, I think, supporting characters, because they're still, with these X-Men films, they're still focusing on Magneto, Xavier, Mystique, and Beast. Those are kind of the four leads in it, and which is fine. I like how they're focusing on Xavier and Magneto. That's fine by me.
I do think this their love story will be kind of in the backdrop of the main
I'm curious.
Apocalypse.
I think they'll get again. There's going to be another movie. Of course, there's going to be another movie after this, and I think they're going to take more of a forefront in the next film. Is what I'm thinking for that. And so, going off of that, I made a couple notes about the trailer. Let's see here. So starting off was the opening line, which of course is a callback to the end of the first X-Men movie, where Magneto and Xavier are sitting there playing chess, and Xavier's like, I feel a great swell of pity for the poor fool who comes to that school looking for trouble. So that callback was really cool. I really like, because that's one of my favorite X-Men lines, actually. So a callback to that was pretty cool. Another highlight for me was when Magneto actually sees Apocalypse. They're like a factory of some kind, and they're surrounded by workers, and like Apocalypse makes all the factory workers drop.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Now, one thing I don't want to see in this film, I don't want Apocalypse to be about mind control. I want, especially Magneto or Eric, I want him to follow Apocalypse willingly. Because Eric has always been about the mutant superiority, of course. Yes. They're the next stage in human evolution. So in comes Apocalypse, that is all about that mission.
The purity of the mutant gene.
Yeah, exactly. And I want Eric to kind of just say, yeah, this guy's correct. Yes, I will follow this person. I don't want him to mind control him to make him follow.
Yeah, we've seen that before. I'd like to have that conflict with Apocalypse that
Eric is going through a moral quandary.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to see him flip sides, of course, at the end, which I imagine, obviously, since all the four horsemen are good guys at some point in the X-Men universe, I think they all will flip and turn against Apocalypse.
Yeah.
At some point. But I think, it's going to be interesting to see that moral dilemma. And, of course, I'm sure Charles is going to try to, flip his friend back as well, which would be cool. Something else, again, the heart of the characters I'm excited to see. One of the other highlights, I saw something where the cars were all being sucked in. It looked like multiple tornadoes. And I'm like, is this Storm? Is this because Apocalypse imbues his horsemen with extra power. I'm like, dang, is he taking this young Storm and hyping up her powers at such a young age, so where she can give multiple tornadoes and just wreck shit?
Yeah, man, Storm, I'm really looking forward to her, and I'm not sure the actress's name, but
I forget what her name is. Yeah, but
I'm just ready for a gritty Storm. Halle Berry kind of made her too much of a pretty girl for me.
No, I'm not going to get into this. I went into Storm last week, about Halle Berry last week when Lisa was here. I'm not going to get into it again, okay?
I think I heard that.
Okay, going on. Quicksilver is back. Quicksilver being one of the highlights of Days of Future Past, because people, when they first saw the character photos of him, they're like, oh, he looks ridiculous. But then you walk out of the movie and he was the highlight of the film. That was totally cool. So they're going to have him back. It looks like he's going to be with the action, though. He's going to be fighting alongside the X-Men on this one, probably for the big battle. When I watched the trailer again this morning while I was taking my notes, I was like, okay, they got Quicksilver. And, of course, on the other side of it, Marvel Studios had Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron. They, spoiler alert, killed him off. And now they just have the Scarlet Witch. I'm curious, do you think at some point they're going to bring Scarlet Witch into X-Men? Because those are two characters that Marvel and Fox can share. Do you think they're gonna, do that or?
I hope so, man. But I don't know if they want to take that on. I mean, was it Maggie Gyllenhaal? No, the actress that played Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch was Elizabeth Olsen.
Okay, Elizabeth Olsen did a great job with that character, in my opinion. I don't know if Fox is willing to take that on. I almost feel like Avengers, Marvel killed off Quicksilver for that exact reason. They saw the reception that their X-Men's Quicksilver got. Let's make it a little even. Let's avoid that confrontation, I guess. Or something.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think part of the reason they killed Quicksilver in Age of Ultron is because Quicksilver in Days of Future Past was so well received. I think that had a factor to do with it. And given the fact that they're going to continue with Scarlet Witch in the Marvel films, I can see them maybe not bringing her into the X-Men films.
Such a fanboy. I'd just be giddy for a mention of her name in the same movie. I'd be excited for that, man. I mean, in the road cut, of Days of Future Past, they show his two younger sisters, and I'm just looking for any clue that.
Well, they saw the one younger sister, right?
Oh yeah, they didn't show the older one. That's right. You're absolutely
because they're
right.
twins, so they'd be the same age. But they did show a younger sister, which it could be. I mean, Magneto did have another kid, which was Polaris.
Yeah.
So it could be her, or it could be just his stepsister or whatever. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find that out. But you're talking about Scarlet Witch and them killing off Quicksilver because he was in Days of Future Past. I had a conversation with a customer yesterday. We had that customer come in who talked to us a little bit about comics. He was excited for Batman v Superman. Well, a little earlier, I had another customer come in, and he complimented me on my Batman belt buckle. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm getting ready for the movie on Thursday. He's like, what movie? I was like, Batman v Superman. He's like, oh, they're having a Batman versus Superman movie? I'm like, what freaking rock are you hiding under, man? And that's the thing. I forget that the general audience, they don't know this stuff. We're in the trenches. We're in this stuff. We talk about it every day, all the time. The general audience don't know this stuff. Mm-hmm. So in that regards, if you put two Quicksilvers on different universes up on the screen at the same time, maybe it'll confuse people a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, maybe that's why they killed this Quicksilver off, because they knew X-Men, they had theirs. And maybe Fox is going to do the same thing. We're like, well, the Scarlet Witch in Marvel is working so well. We don't want to put another one up to confuse it or compare it. So let's just leave Scarlet Witch off and just have Quicksilver.
Yeah.
That's
smart business decision right there.
I think it could be something like that. That's the thing. Sometimes we forget, man. There are people that don't know this stuff.
Well, I'm just thinking about how much me knowing a lot of this material affects my opinion on all these movies, man.
Of course.
All these movies.
And that's exactly how it is. All right, so getting back to the trailer, a couple of things. Giant Apocalypse, and the one where he picks up Xavier at the mansion, kind of throws him around a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. I like that because, Apocalypse does get big like that in the cartoon and the comics, so I'm glad they're going to bring that into it. Couple of throwdowns, actually, that I want to mention. One was you saw Nightcrawler and Angel in like a cage match of some kind.
Yeah.
And Angel, he was still Angel. He wasn't Archangel yet. So I'm curious. I feel like that's going to be maybe at the beginning of the film, perhaps. And maybe that's where like Xavier finds them when he tries to recruit them to the mansion. Another one I saw, Beast versus Psylocke. That'd be interesting. Psylocke, of course, being a telepath, not as powerful as Xavier or even what Jean Grey will become, but still pretty powerful. It's one of those things where if you take Beast versus Psylocke, take them just against their abilities, Psylocke's a ninja. She's pretty hardcore. She's pretty badass. She's pretty hot, too.
And she can teleport?
No.
No, she can't? Okay,
no, she's psychic.
Okay.
Psychic. She's got the psychic blade, too, as well.
That's
the purple
right, okay.
blade, as well. Going against Beast. Beast has some moves, his instincts, I guess you could say. So he might be able to put up a fight. But if Psylocke uses any kind of telepathic abilities, Beast is, out like that.
I think we forget how smart Hank McCoy is.
He's smart, yeah, but Psylocke's a telepath, man. All she has to do is be like, go to sleep. Done. That's all I have to do.
Power of the mind, man. The mind can defend itself, though.
Exactly. And then another one that I liked was they showed Cyclops shooting at Storm. Yeah. And there's a famous X-Men cover with Cyclops shooting at Storm, and that's an issue where the two of them are battling for leadership of the X-Men. So seeing that's a classic fight. or a classic issue, and then just kind of see that almost personified up on screen. I like that because in that issue too, that's when during the 80s when Storm had her mohawk, which she does have in this film as well. So that was kind of cool for me as well.
I think we're going to start seeing a lot of women rocking the mohawk after this movie.
You see Amber with mohawk?
Oh, no. Definitely.
No.
She loves her long hair too much, and I love her long hair too much. So.
All right, and then the last thing I had on my notes was Havoc in Cerebro. There was a shot where Havoc was shooting out his energy blast while everyone was in Cerebro. It looks like something where like Charles finally tapped in and found Apocalypse. He can't handle that power, so Havoc or Alex is trying to do something to try to disconnect it to free Charles. Is that kind of what I took that as? Yeah. But also, it's coming out of his chest. Now, in First Class, the energy beams came out of his chest, of course. But then in Days of Future Past, when he shot at one of those soldiers, when Mystique was free, now he shot out his arm. Now they're going back to chest again. Is this just a continuity flaw, or what's going on?
He's got multiple abilities, man. He can shoot it anywhere he wants.
Well, in the comic books, they came out of his arms, I guess, in that instance. So I'm curious, are they going to just explain it, or continuity flaw? I don't know. But either way, I'm totally excited for this film.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
I'm not on Civil War excited, but it's right below that.
I am. I'm probably a little bit more excited for this one than Civil War, but I do have to remind myself there's not going to be any Wolverine as far as we know.
He's going to make a cameo.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm more curious because we know there's going to be another Wolverine movie coming out. We know there's going to be another X-Men movie coming out. In the post-credits scene, do you think we get a teaser for Wolverine or for the next X-Men?
Oh, I hope so. I think it's Wolverine. I hope it's Wolverine.
I would love to see...
I'm a Wolverine guy.
I would love to see an Old Man Logan teaser at the end.
Oh,
don't show Hugh Jackman the entire film, but then that post-credit scene, see him out in like the desert or the dirt farming or something or whatever, and like, that would be awesome.
That would hurt my heart a little bit just because we have to wait another year or so before we even get another glimpse.
That'll be awesome. But yeah, that'll be cool. Totally excited for that. All right, so speaking of Civil War, Robert Downey Jr. sat down with USA Today to talk a little Captain America Civil War. And they also talked about the question of whether or not he's going to be in an Iron Man 4. Now, Robert Downey Jr. said, quote, "I don't think that's in the cards. In a way, it's Cap 3 for me, but also this film is also like my own little Iron Man 4. And then it's back to the thing we all recognize, the Avengers. Everything pulls over to the side of the road when the thunder of an Avengers movie comes through because that's how it is until it changes, if it changes." So Robert Downey Jr. went on to talk about how he'd like to play Tony Stark more in the Marvel Cinematic movies, in more Avengers movies, but he really doesn't see himself being in a standalone Iron Man movie again. The Iron Man trilogy grossed over $2 billion worldwide. Tony Stark no longer wanting to play Iron Man in solo Iron Man films. I think we all kind of got that, especially after Iron Man 3. He is signed on to play Robert Downey Jr. is signed on to play Tony Stark. I know at least through Avengers Infinity War Part 2. Honestly, I could see him dying at the end of that too because of this.
Oh, wow. Man, that would be a total change-up for us if it did.
Well, because, I mean, I think Avengers Infinity War Part 2 is going to be the change of everything because everything so far to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is leading to that. I am so curious to see what Marvel Studios does after that. Because that's been the end game is Infinity War.
Yeah.
As soon as they announced that, you knew ever since the beginning of Iron Man, that's where they were leading to.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give some type of closure on these characters, especially if they're no longer Robert Downey Jr.
I mean, I'm very curious to see, especially of the original Avengers, Chris Evans, Jeremy Renner, Scarlett Johansson, all those guys. Are they still going to be Avengers after that? I'm very curious to see if Marvel's going to announce what's next post Infinity War Part 2 before Infinity War, like even Part 1 comes out.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should just warn the audience here, welcome change. I mean, you can't have, it just sucks you can't have, let's say, I love Chris Evans as Captain America. He's not going to be able to play that his entire life.
No, he said interest he wants to play it as long as he can.
Yeah, but at some point we're going to have a new Captain America. You got to be prepared for that. And maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s time is coming. That's a challenge, though, man. I'd hate to be in Marvel shoes where they have to write these characters off. They have to figure out a way to conclude their story, and
Yeah,
it's going to be a challenge and a half.
it's interesting. It's different though. Like for Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson, it's different than it is for say Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. because all their action stuff is CGI. Like when Iron Man is fighting, that's CGI. That's not Robert Downey Jr. physically doing all that.
Yeah.
When Mark Ruffalo turns into the Hulk, that's CGI. That's not Mark Ruffalo.
What? No way.
All those two have to do is act. They don't have to do a lot of physical work. So in that instance, I can see them playing those characters for a lot longer than what Chris Evans or Scarlett Johansson can do because their roles require a lot more physicality to the job. But again, I can just see Robert Downey Jr. calling it quits after Infinity War Part 2. But make no mistake, they will continue the Iron Man franchise with Iron Man 4. I just don't think it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. The character itself is too famous and made too much money to just let it go.
Yeah. I have no idea who you would get.
I'm curious to see if they're going to do a Captain America 4 as well or a Thor 4. I'm just very anxious to see what Marvel Studios' plans are post Infinity War Part 2. Who's going to stay on that have originally been in that first Avengers movie or Phase 1. Just going to see what the landscape is after Infinity War.
I imagine they're planning it already when they will reveal Phase 2?
So they just finished Phase 2. They're starting Phase 3. So it'll be, I'm not sure. I think it's Phase 4?
After Infinity Wars 2?
I don't know if it's part of Phase 4 or at the end of Phase 3.
Either way, I'm sure they have some brain working on it and planning this whole thing out. I'm sure
Kevin Feige knows what he's going to do. When he will reveal it to us is the question.
Let's throw Planet Hulk in there, man. Let's throw some for the fanboys. Let's throw Planet Hulk.
I feel like the next Thor movie is going to be a little bit Planet Hulk because it's going to be Thor and Hulk off-world, like kind of in space. So I feel like we're going to get a little bit of Planet Hulk.
I hadn't heard of that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, you don't know. Remember, because Thor and Hulk are going to be in that third Thor movie. It's going to be like almost like a buddy movie or whatever. And they're going to be in space. So I imagine it's going to be kind of a little bit of Planet Hulk. I'm sure you're going to get aliens that Hulk's got to fight and all that jazz. So that'll be cool in that instance.
Hulk smash, man.
Now, talking about Robert Downey Jr., possibly meeting his end in Infinity War, I totally forgot to mention, going back to X-Men Apocalypse, there is a shot there where Apocalypse is strangling Mystique. Now, Jennifer Lawrence has already said she's not going to go do another movie. She's done with X-Men after this. Mm-hmm. James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, I think they're signed on for a couple more. But she's done. So, Mystique dying. Thoughts?
Oh man, to be honest, I'm sorry, but I hope so. I haven't been a big fan of her portrayal of Mystique at all. To me, she was a big name that they had the opportunity to sign on to help bring ticket sales. But I mean, she's a great actress. Don't get me wrong, she's a great actress. I don't like her as Mystique. Bring back the original Mystique if you can, any way
I don't
possible.
think you're gonna do that, but
let's go in a time machine, bring her back. I loved her more than I do Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah,
she's just too soft to be Mystique, in my opinion.
I'm gonna agree with you on that. Granted, she's played a young Mystique who hasn't hardened up yet, like we saw Rebecca Romijn play.
True.
But the whole reason that Mystique has had such a big role in these last couple X-Men movies, let's face it, people, is because it's Jennifer Lawrence, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, in First Class, she wasn't a big name, but then by the time Days of Future Past came around, Hunger Games had come out, and I think she had already won her Oscar by then. Yeah. She was a big name. She's going to play a big role in this film, and let's face it, it's not because it's Mystique. Mystique is a supporting character in the X-Men universe, always has been, always should be. The only reason she's the third lead in these films is because of the actress.
Yep.
Which is fine, but I think after this, especially since Jennifer Lawrence says going to call it quits, let's just call the character quits, even surprise a couple people, because we know Mystique in the other films is, an adult. But of course, we're not on the same timeline anymore. Anything could change. We're not leading towards that first X-Men movie anymore. We're leading to something differently. That's all so cool. Erased.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So you can forget what you know about those first couple X-Men movies because that's not going to take place anymore. Something totally different. So who's to say Mystique bites it?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you now. You called it, but let's see what happens. we definitely need. I think that movie's gonna need to sacrifice a
Somebody,
character or two.
character, yeah, I think I see that, and it could be again. This is the final film for that first class, the first class characters. You know, so I could definitely. I don't think Magneto and Xavier. You can't get rid of them. Definitely not. But I think Beast. I think Mystique. I think even Moira, or Havoc. All those supporting characters. I think they're up for grabs as far as getting the axe. No, Cyclops, Jean, Nightcrawler, they're going to be the new stuff. They're going to continue it.
Let's get rid of the Boy Scout.
Shut up.
Just wipe them from X-Men existence.
You're just... there is no X-Men without Cyclops, okay? I'll have this discussion with anyone who wants to have it with me, okay? Cyclops is the X-Men. Challenge me on it. I dare you, okay?
Poke the bear, man. Poke the bear.
Poke Slim Dayspring, yes. Poke Slim Dayspring and see what happens, okay? Okay, so we're finally taking a step out of the Marvel Universe. You ready to take a step out of that for a sec?
Whew, yeah.
Okay, we're going to totally switch gears to what I like to call the Harrison Ford category of this podcast. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to switch these. I had them written down one way, but I'm going to flip them. And we're going to go to the casting of a young Han Solo. So Lucasfilm has been trying to cast their young Han Solo for their upcoming spin-off film. And the Hollywood Reporter is saying that the cut is down to 3 actors. One is Alden Ehrenreich from Hail Caesar. One is Jack Rayner from Transformers Age of Extinction. And one is Taron Egerton from Kingsman: The Secret Service. However, Variety also tweeted that there's also 2 more actors still in the running. Blake Jenner from Everybody Wants Some and Jack O'Connell from Unbroken. Lucasfilm and Disney did a casting call last year where over 2,500 actors either auditioned or sent in tapes to audition for the role. This film is going to be directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who directed 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, and the Lego Movie. It's set to come out May 25th, 2018. Going to be written by Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. The film will focus on a young Han Solo becoming a smuggler, thief, and scoundrel before he met Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Disney's CEO Bob Iger has revealed as well that Chewbacca is going to be along his side for this film. Go for it. I'll let you go first.
Well, forgive me for saying something stupid here, but I feel like Harrison Ford should have seen this coming, should have had a son, would have looked just like him, had the same mannerisms, and the world would have been okay. We would have been fine. That or just like make a clone of Harrison Ford. Something like that.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good idea. Why did people think of that? We should have cloned Harrison Ford like 20 years ago.
And then maybe another one to run for president. I don't know. Harrison Ford is the man. And for me to pick a kid out of my generation to play this man here, the man of all men
The
here.
man of all men. That's a great way to put it. He is.
So, I mean, it's hard for me to pick. Unbroken was a great movie. I'm kind of leaning towards him. But you mentioned, I'm sorry, the actor's name from Kingsman?
Taron Egerton.
I loved him in that movie. Thought he had the swag that he could, you know.
When they originally came out with like the list of like 8 to 10 actors, his name wasn't on it. Even though it was rumored, his name wasn't on it. People were like, where is he? Nobody said anything about it. But now he's on this list. So maybe they were keeping it a secret
Leading candidate.
something like that.
Yeah.
But in that instance, so out of these guys, Taron Egerton I'd be fine with. Jack Rayner, the only thing I saw him in was a Transformers Age of Extinction, so I'm sorry. That's a black mark on his resume, in my opinion.
Don't put that on your resume, man.
But I went and saw Hail Caesar. And while it wasn't a phenomenal film, Alden Ehrenreich, I'm totally
You're
butchering
doing a great job with
I'm
that
butchering
name.
his last
Great
name. I know
job.
I am. But he was the standout of that film. He was acting against Josh Brolin, George Clooney, Scarlett Johansson, all these great, good actors, and he was the standout of the film. If I had to pick between these 3, I'd go with him.
Yeah?
I would challenge you to watch Hail Caesar just for that.
Okay.
Watch it and tell me, because, beforehand we were talking about this, you hadn't seen Kingsman. You finally watched it, and then I asked you, I was like, well, Taron Egerton, do you think you could do Han Solo? And you said, yeah, I could do Han Solo.
Yeah. I don't know. He just has this confidence to him and toughness at the same time. So there's resilience to him. I get it. I mean, I for me.
I'd be fine with him. My only stipulation would be he's done Kingsman. He He just did Eddie the Eagle, which I haven't seen yet, but I heard it's pretty good. But he's British. He has his British accent in both those films. Can he drop that accent good enough?
Yeah. That would be challenging.
It's going to be, is he a good enough actor to keep that accent gone while he's playing Han Solo? That's going to be the question for me.
I do need to see the Coen. It's a Coen Brothers film, Hail Caesar, right?
Yes. And
yeah, I
again,
definitely need to see that, man.
From what I saw of this Alden guy as well, he can pull off any accent because he does several voices in the film, and I have no problem that he can do whatever voice or accent he can do. So right now, my money's going to go on him.
Are they going to recast Chewbacca?
Why would they recast him? I mean, Peter Mayhew has played Chewbacca, but even in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Peter Mayhew wasn't in the Chewbacca costume, I think, for most of the film.
Really?
A lot of the sitting stuff, I know it was him. It's kind of like Kenny Baker. They had Kenny Baker in the film as well. I think it's kind of an homage or a tip of the hat to him. Because Peter Mayhew has had a lot of health issues lately, a lot of problems with his knees, probably due to the fact that he is so tall. But it's one of those things where I guess I can get more into the Star Wars casting and how they're getting older and stuff like that. But you have 3 characters I don't see ever leaving the Star Wars universe or dying. Is Chewbacca, R2-D2, and C-3PO. Because anybody can play Chewbacca. You just got to get someone tall to put on the costume.
Yeah.
R2-D2 is no longer Kenny Baker, actually. It's actually a remote-controlled robot.
Yeah.
The only thing would be C-3PO because he's the voice of Anthony Daniels, always has been in every version of Star Wars, animated, commercial, whatever. It's been Anthony Daniels. Flipping that voice, I can see a little different, but again, you can get anybody because it's just a robot, you know?
Okay.
Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, those are harder to recast because you can't just get someone else in there because they're growing older.
Yeah.
In that instance. But with this, like I said, I'm going to go all in. If it's Taron Egerton, I'm fine with as well.
Yeah.
The other guys, I want to see Everybody Wants Some. That's the new film from the guy who made Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
It's supposed to be like an 80s version of Dazed and Confused,
All right.
which I've heard pretty good things about.
I've
So
liked
after that, I'll get a better idea for Blake Jenner, Jack O'Connell, whatever. He was okay. I wouldn't be really disappointed if he was, but again, I'm going with the Hail Caesar guy.
And they've already decided that the screenplay will be written by the same guy who did
they've already got it written out and stuff like that. Like I said, the movie comes out in almost 2 years, so they have to have something written out. Honestly, in my opinion, I think they've already cast Han Solo. They just haven't announced it. That's my thing, because they got to stay a couple. They got to stay a couple steps ahead of what everyone is talking about.
Yeah.
So I think they've already cast him, and we're going to find out, I think, in the next few months.
Smart move.
So going over to another casting, I wanted to do the Han Solo thing first, so then I can lead into the other infamous Harrison Ford character, Indiana Jones. Lucasfilm and Disney just announced they are indeed doing another Indiana Jones film set to return to theaters July 19th, 2019. Not only will Steven Spielberg return to direct a 5th Indiana Jones film, but Harrison Ford is indeed coming back to don the fedora and play Indiana Jones once again. The last Indiana Jones film was 2008's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and we all know how that went.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, there were rumors, of course, that for another Indiana Jones film, they might recast younger, possibly Chris Pratt could play Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford is now 73 years old. However, producer Frank Marshall said a little while ago, he said, quote, "We're not doing the Bond thing where we're going to call someone else Indiana Jones. It's certainly not my intention to ever have another actor step into his shoes in the way there have been many actors that have played Spider-Man and Batman. There's only going to be one actor playing Indiana Jones, and that is Harrison Ford." So going off of that, The Hollywood Reporter also said that David Cope, screenwriter, is actually going to write the 5th Indiana Jones film. His credits include Jurassic Park: The Lost World, War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise film, and Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, which he wrote that movie as well. Thoughts on Indiana Jones?
The screenplay writer, the writer of the movie, the new Indiana Jones movie, gets me excited just because of
I'm sorry, man, but it gets me unexcited.
Really? Well, you're thinking about Kingdom of Crystal Skull. I'm thinking about Jurassic Park. I'm thinking about. I enjoy.
No. You're thinking Jurassic Park. This is Lost World Jurassic Park. Okay.
Oh, he didn't write the original. I thought.
No, he just did Lost World. I think. Yeah, I said Lost World Jurassic Park. So it wasn't the first movie. It was the second one.
Jurassic Park was. I was weighing heavily on that, but
then I didn't like War of the Worlds too much. It was whatever.
War of the Worlds had an old school feel to me. It was very much trying to, I guess, pay an homage to the original, in my opinion. But
that was heavily action movie. There wasn't actually the best dialogue in it, so for that I'm like, okay, whatever. And then of course you got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I know Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was a collaborative effort where they took several scripts and kind of mixed them all together, which is kind of why I think the story was a little bit of a mess.
That's why you get crap.
But David Cope's name was on it as a screenwriter, so really you got to give him that blame/credit.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, if Steven Spielberg has his fingers into this movie, which I know he will, it's gonna be a test on his name, man. I mean, he did do just recently Bridge of Spies, right?
Yeah, I did, which is fine. But you got to look at it this way, okay? Steven Spielberg for Indiana Jones movies, he's 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
So you got to give him that. Plus George Lucas, again, just like with Star Wars, he has no say in this really.
Okay.
So
that scares me.
Getting that out of there, no, it makes me better actually because I'm going to skip that conversation. Okay, so Harrison Ford coming back to play Indiana Jones. Excited? Not excited? Think he's past his prime?
No, definitely not past his prime. But I do think he's getting old. So I have no idea where this film is going to go. Are they going to be tipping their hat to Harrison Ford the whole time? Are we going to see him trying a 75-year-old trying to do stunts, or what kind of film are we going to get? Is he passing the torch? I have no idea.
So here's my theory / hope for the film is the TV show The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. There was a couple times where they took Harrison Ford and gave him like a 2-minute scene where he started talking about some of his younger adventures as a kid.
Nice.
I want to see that kind of thing where you have Harrison Ford and he tells somebody a story about one of his younger adventures, only in his young adventures, it's a different actor.
Yeah.
So then for the next Indiana Jones film, you can just start off with that actor.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about Harrison Ford. That's kind of my hope / theory of what they're going to do because I don't see how else they can do it. You can't have Harrison Ford hopping around like he used to.
No.
But it's an action movie. You got to have the action. You got to have somebody doing the action. And Shia LaBeouf is not coming back. I'm sorry, he's not because he just wasn't well received. In fact, if they go back and tell me that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull never happened, I think all of us would rejoice and be like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
That would be great. But I can see this being Harrison Ford's last Indiana Jones film unless they continue us for the next couple films where it's old man Jones telling stories. But I see that they have to recast him. They got to bring another Indiana Jones if they want this franchise to survive. I don't think they can do a thing where they tried to do in Crystal Skull, which was be like, okay, we have Indiana Jones, and here's his son, Mutt, and Mutt's going to take over and be like Indy Jr., and that didn't turn out well.
No.
So they can't do that. I don't believe they can do that. But I'm excited we're getting another Indiana Jones film. So here's the question. Here's the real question. Right now they're currently casting a young Han Solo. And they will probably soon be casting a young Indiana Jones. Do we make them the same actor?
Man, why not? If they, which movie is going to come out first? You're going to have your
Han Solo, because Han Solo's coming out 2018. Indiana Jones coming out 2019.
If the movie bombs, then my answer would be hell no, don't recast them.
But at that point, if they don't know if the movie's going to bomb till well after Indiana Jones is already shooting.
Damn. Well, that's a tough one right there. I'd hate to be in their shoes right there.
It's weird though, because I feel like it's almost a bad thing to. Because Harrison Ford, these are his 2 most iconic roles.
Yeah. Han
Solo and Indiana Jones. And these are the 2 roles he's going to be associated with. It's going to be on his eulogy, the first line when, God forbid, he passes away.
Why would you even speak of that?
That's going to be a sad day when that happens. I know. I'm sorry. It's emotional about that. But to see 2 different actors then playing those roles that Harrison Ford made so famous, I can't imagine that. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine anybody else playing Han Solo or Indiana Jones, besides Harrison Ford. But then to know that in a couple of years we're going to get 2 different actors playing that Harrison Ford roles, it's going to be real. And I think for me, I feel like the transition might be a little better if it's the same actor, but on the same side, I feel like it'd be a little weird if someone tried to do both. And like saying, "Hey guys, here's the new Harrison Ford."
Yeah.
It's
This is one man.
It's just very confusing.
If it was a son, I would have been okay with it.
Get off the son, okay? It's not going to happen. I don't even know if he has a son. I'm sure he does, but they're not. They haven't been acting, so I don't want to.
Clint Eastwood has a son in acting. Why couldn't Harrison Ford?
Look,
be
we're not getting a Will Smith thing where he's going to put his son in everything and he's going to ruin a bunch of movies. Okay, I don't want that to happen. He already ruined the Karate Kid. Okay.
Oh man, I love the Karate Kid, the new one. But
I can't.
Harrison Ford, it's just gonna be a tough change to deal with. But hey, I mean, change is good, right? Change is, you're supposed to embrace it. So, well, how do people feel when they first were introduced to Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones?
That's totally different because he wasn't the household name. He wasn't the icon when he did Indiana Jones, man. Sure, he had just gone off of Han Solo and people loved Han Solo, but then they saw him in Indiana Jones, and after he killed it as Indiana Jones, that's when he started to become that icon.
Yeah.
And to have someone replace that icon is just impossible. I mean, for me,
impossible
that's above like that's above Robert De Niro or Al Pacino. To me, it's going to be so impossible for someone to play a Harrison Ford character much more than any of the other Al Pacino or Robert Downey Jr. characters, in my opinion at least. Because I'm such a huge geek, because Star Wars and Indiana Jones I love so much, it's going to be, for me personally, a lot harder to fill those shoes.
I mean, I can agree with that. It's going to be, I mean, you have guys that can do incredible impressions of famous actors. I mean, I've seen a lot of talented actors.
That's the thing, though. They can do Harrison Ford. I don't want them to do Harrison Ford. I want them to do Han Solo. I want them to do Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like that actor that was in the Blake Lively movie, Age of Adeline.
Yeah.
We had a guy who played a younger Harrison Ford who looked kind of like Han Solo or Harrison Ford and could do a good impression. But can he play Harrison Ford? Can he play Han Solo? Can he play Indiana Jones? He can play Harrison Ford, we know that.
Yeah.
But can he play the actual characters themselves? Apparently not, because he's not even the running for Han Solo.
Apparently, I mean, it's going to take big shoes to fill, man. Big shoes to fill, my friend. And lots of change coming up, huh?
We're going to see. All right, so I'm going to skip these last 2 ones because they're not big ones. We were going to talk about the new Warcraft poster and trailer, but Josh and I, neither of us are really excited about it. And we're out of time anyway, so we'll just skip that.
If you're mad at us for not talking about Warcraft, just go ahead and hit us up on Dayspring.
Hit us up on social media or email us. We'll be glad to chat about it and how much we're not excited about it. Okay? 2 more days, man. Next time we do a podcast, we will have seen Batman v Superman.
Oh my god, I'm so excited, dude.
2 days, man.
The showdown.
I know, right? I can't excited. So remember, tomorrow at work, anything Batman that you can wear to work, wear to work. Okay? So I'm going to wear everything I have that I can wear to work that's Superman. I'm going to bring my mug. Okay? So anything you have Batman, you do Batman, I'll do Superman. And then, of course, when we go to the theater, I'm going to have my Superman shirt on, you have your Batman shirt on. We're going to come with pictures of, like, duking it out and stuff like that. It'll be fun. We'll post them up on the page, of course. We'll post them on social media.
All right.
Somebody somewhere will get a kick out of it, I think, probably.
I'm wearing my black suit tomorrow, man, and my gold tie or my yellow tie, and my Batman socks.
Show up dressed as Batman. I dare you.
I will be looking very close to Batman.
Okay, so how about this? So I'm going to wear my Superman stuff. I'm going to stick with blues, reds, and yellows, and then you stick with, like, blacks and yellows.
Done.
Okay?
Done. Sounds like a plan.
Wear, like, a black suit, black shirt, do, like, a yellow tie maybe or something.
I got you.
Boom. All right. Oh, I'm excited for tomorrow now. That'd be cool. That'd be
all
awesome.
Day tomorrow. I'm going to be looking like a boss.
Now, Lisa's not going with us tomorrow.
No.
But she still wants to see the movie sometime this weekend. So by next Tuesday, I will have probably seen the movie twice.
Okay.
Not sure if you want to do the same. Just throwing it out there.
I don't want to overcommit to something. If I'm miserable through
the
first showing, I might not
just
want
like
to.
Star Wars, I like to see it twice to get a full perspective on it before I actually sit down and talk about it. Because with Star Wars, like I said, the second time I saw it, I felt like I had a better grasp on the film because it wasn't expectations. I could go with a level head, judge it a little better. So I'm going to see it twice. If you want to, that's fine. But I think that'll be awesome. So next week we'll talk Daredevil. We'll talk, hopefully finish Daredevil. If you haven't, I'm not even going to have you on the show. And then we'll talk Batman v Superman, and that'll probably take up most of the show then. Okay? All right, guys. So we've run a little long than what we usually do, but we had a lot to talk about. I'm super excited for next week, I'll tell you that.
Oh, man.
It's
It's a
going
good
to be
show.
awesome.
I'm excited about next week.
All right, guys. So if you have any comments, anything you want to talk to us about, hit us up, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. We're also on social media. We have a Facebook group. You can hit us up on Twitter, which, again, I'm really bad about Twitter, but hit us up anyway, and we'll comment and all that stuff. Or you can find me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as well. Slim, SLYM, Dayspring12. Josh, where can they find you?
Instagram. You can find me at I am Batman 24/7.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to be it for us this week. Good show. I love it. Let's do it again some other time. How about next week?
Nice.
All right, guys.
Nice.
Until next week, same bat time, same bat channel.